The story of Prophet Elijah, also spelled Elias or Eliah, a Hebrew prophet who ranks with Moses in saving the religion of Yahweh from being corrupted by the nature worship of Baal. Elijah was a prophet who lived during the 9th century BCE in the kingdom of Israel, which was divided into two kingdoms at the time. Elijah's story begins during the reign of King Ahab, who ruled the northern kingdom of Israel. Ahab had married a Phoenician princess named Jezebel, who introduced the worship of the Phoenician god Baal to Israel and sought to eradicate the worship of the Hebrew God, Yahweh. Elijah was a staunch believer in Yahweh and was known for his unwavering faith and dedication. In the midst of a severe drought, Elijah confronted Ahab and declared that there would be no rain until he, Elijah, said so. This was a direct challenge to the authority of Baal, who was believed to be the god of rain and fertility. As the drought continued, Elijah was led by God to a ravine, where he was miraculously fed by ravens who brought him bread and meat each morning and evening. When the ravine eventually dried up due to the drought, God instructed Elijah to go to a widow in the city of Zarephath, where he performed another miracle. He found the widow gathering sticks to prepare one last meal for herself and her son before they would starve to death. Elijah asked her to make him a small cake of bread first, promising that her supply of flour and oil would not run out until the drought ended. The widow obeyed, and as Elijah had promised, her supplies miraculously remained abundant until the rains returned. After 3 years of drought, Elijah challenged the prophets of Baal to a contest on Mount Carmel. He gathered the people of Israel and the 450 prophets of Baal and the 400 prophets of Asherah to witness the event. Elijah proposed that each side would prepare a sacrifice, and the God who answered with fire from heaven would be recognized as the true God. The prophets of Baal prayed and pleaded to their God, but nothing happened. In contrast, Elijah built an altar for Yahweh, drenched it with water, and prayed. Immediately, fire came down from heaven and consumed the offering, proving that Yahweh was the true God. Following this dramatic victory, Elijah ordered the execution of the false prophets, which drew the ire of Jezebel. In fear for his life, Elijah fled to the wilderness and despaired, asking God to take his life. God, however, sent an angel to provide him with food and water, and Elijah continued on a 40-day journey to Mount Horeb. At Mount Horeb, Elijah experienced a series of events. He witnessed a powerful wind, an earthquake, and a fire, but God was not in any of those. Instead, God spoke to Elijah in a still, small voice, encouraging him to continue his prophetic mission and anoint Elisha as his successor. Elijah eventually returned to Israel and confronted Ahab once again, prophesying his downfall and the destruction of his family. Elijah continued his ministry, performing miracles and confronting the idolatry of his time until the time of his departure from the earthly realm. According to the biblical account, Elijah did not die but was taken up to heaven in a chariot of fire, accompanied by a whirlwind. Before his ascension, he passed his prophetic mantle to Elisha, who became his successor. The story of Prophet Elijah is remembered for his unwavering faith, his confrontation with false prophets, and his miracles.